Why is Pluto no longer considered a planet? Once hailed as the mysterious ninth planet of our solar system, Pluto was a symbol of distance, wonder, and exploration. But in 2006, everything changed. Scientists redefined what it means to be a planet, and Pluto lost its title. Yet what we discovered in that loss became far greater than we imagined. The story of Pluto began in 1930, when a young astronomer named Clyde Tombaugh discovered a faint dot beyond Neptune's orbit. The world celebrated. The ninth planet had been found. Newspapers called it one of the greatest achievements in astronomy, and for decades, Pluto stood proudly in every classroom model of the solar system. But no one knew that years later, this tiny world would become the center of one of the biggest scientific debates in history. Pluto turned out to be smaller than our moon, with a stretched and tilted orbit. Its surface was covered in frozen methane and nitrogen, reflecting a dim sunlight so faint that the sun looked like a distant star. It was remote, cold, and alien, and that's exactly what made it fascinating. A lonely world frozen in time, waiting to be understood. As technology advanced, astronomers began discovering other icy bodies beyond Neptune. Eris, Haumea, Makemake. Each new discovery chipped away at Pluto's uniqueness. There were dozens, maybe hundreds, of similar objects out there. Something had to change. The definition of planet needed to evolve. In 2006, the International Astronomical Union made a historic decision. To be called a planet, an object must orbit the Sun, be nearly round, and clear its orbit of other bodies. Pluto failed the last rule. It shares its path with other icy neighbors, and so Pluto was reclassified as a dwarf planet. For many, it felt like losing an old friend. The world reacted with emotion. Scientists argued that Pluto still had an atmosphere, moons, and complex geology. Surely that should count for something. Children wrote letters demanding Pluto's return, and astronomers were divided. Was this progress or betrayal? But Pluto was never just a frozen rock. It had mountains of ice, nitrogen plains, and traces of movement beneath its crust. There were even signs of changing seasons. This was no dead world. It was alive in slow motion. Then, in 2015, everything changed again. NASA's New Horizons spacecraft made humanity's first ever flyby of Pluto, traveling at 14 kilometers per second. For the first time, we saw Pluto up close, and what we saw left everyone speechless. A vibrant, dynamic world far more complex than anyone expected. Among the images was something no one could forget: a vast, bright, heart-shaped plane, Sputnik Planitia. It looked like a symbol of love carved into the planet itself. People around the world fell for Pluto all over again. It was as if the universe had drawn a message in ice. I am still here. After New Horizons, the world no longer saw Pluto as a downgrade. We stopped arguing about definitions and started to marvel at its beauty. Even on the edge of the solar system, there was movement, atmosphere, and mystery. Greatness, it seemed, was never about size, but about wonder. Beneath Pluto's frozen crust may lie a hidden ocean, liquid water beneath miles of ice. Internal heat could keep it from freezing entirely. If that's true, then Pluto could even harbor life, tiny, slow, alien life. a heartbeat of warmth beneath the coldest world we know. And that's not all. Pluto has a thin but active atmosphere of nitrogen and methane. When it nears the sun, that frost turns to vapor, forming a soft blue haze. Then, as it drifts away, the gases fall again as snow. A world that breathes in silence. Around Pluto orbit 5 moons. The largest, Charon, is nearly half its size. The two are locked in a perfect dance. They always face each other, revolving together around a shared center of gravity. It's one of the most poetic relationships in the solar system. Some scientists think Pluto and Charon were once one body, torn apart by an ancient collision. Now they orbit like partners bound by invisible strings of gravity. Each revolution is a memory of that cosmic breakup. Their bond is a story written in motion. Charon's surface, too, tells its own tale. Vast canyons, frozen rivers, and plains of ancient ice. It may once have had internal heat, even icy volcanoes. Together, Pluto and Charon are a double world, two halves of a mystery still unfolding, separated by distance, united by gravity. Beyond them spin for smaller moons, Nix, Hydra, Kerberos, and Styx. They tumble unpredictably, chaotic and wild, shining like spinning mirrors in the dark. It's a miniature solar system orbiting at the edge of ours, and it defies all expectations of what order means. Pluto's orbit itself is strange, long, tilted, and crossing Neptune's path. At times, Pluto is even closer to the Sun than Neptune, yet thanks to a perfect resonance, the two never collide. It's a cosmic dance choreographed by gravity and time. A day on Pluto lasts nearly 6 Earth days, and its seasons span centuries. Sunsets last 4 hours, casting blue shadows across endless plains. Time there moves differently, slower, softer, colder. A realm where silence itself seems to have weight. And yet, this dwarf changed everything we knew about planets. It forced us to rethink what truly defines a world. The universe doesn't obey our rules or our labels. It just is. It reveals only what we're ready to understand. Pluto became a symbol of scientific humility. Greatness isn't found in a title, but in the mysteries we uncover. Each discovery at its icy edge is a step beyond what we thought possible, and that's why Pluto will forever remain in our hearts. Its very name was chosen by an 11-year-old girl, Venetia Burney, who suggested the god of the underworld. The astronomers loved it, and the name stuck forever. Sometimes, a child's imagination can touch the stars, and Pluto became not just a discovery, but a dream. Over the decades, Pluto turned into a symbol of perseverance and curiosity, a reminder that being small doesn't mean being insignificant. It whispers to all who feel unseen, you still matter. That's why millions of people still feel connected to this tiny world. Years after the New Horizons flyby, data revealed volcanoes that erupt with ice instead of fire. It showed movement, heat, and chemical complexity. Pluto wasn't a frozen corpse. It was alive in its own strange way. It was a world rewriting the definition of active. Its thin atmosphere glows with dozens of layers, stacked like pages of a book. Each layer a chapter written in frost on sunlight. Even Pluto's sky holds memories of millions of years. A story told in whispers of nitrogen snow. New Horizons continues its journey, sending data from the Kuiper Belt, that vast frozen ring beyond Neptune. It proved that even a small probe can open an entire era of discovery. Pluto became the gateway to new worlds, the first step into the unknown. And somewhere out there, it still waits, silent, glowing, eternal. Beyond Pluto lies the Kuiper Belt, a river of ice and stone stretching 4 billions of kilometers. Each object there is a fossil from the dawn of creation. By studying them, we read the history of our solar system itself. Every icy fragment, a message from the past. Some astronomers even believe another planet hides beyond. Planet 9, massive, unseen, shaping the orbits of distant bodies. If it exists, it could be 10 times the mass of Earth. Its gravity pulls at us like curiosity itself, invisible, yet irresistible. After Pluto, New Horizons passed another relic, Arakorth, shaped like a red snowman, older than Earth, untouched since the beginning. Each image it sent back was a postcard from deep time, proof that space isn't empty. It's full of memory. We learned that the cosmos is archaeology, a dig through the ruins of creation. Pluto and its neighbors are ancient witnesses of chaos turned to order. Through them, we uncover who we are and how we began. Every rock, every orbit, another clue to our own existence. Now New Horizons sails into interstellar space, where the sun is only a bright star. It carries our curiosity with it, a human artifact among the stars, and Pluto remains behind, watching from the edge. Not an end, but the beginning of everything beyond. Pluto taught us that boundaries are illusions. The universe doesn't know the word planet, only creation. It simply exists, vast, diverse, and beautiful. And perhaps that's the real meaning of science, to seek without limits. Every discovery reflects who we are. When we see Pluto, we see loneliness, curiosity, and courage. We see the desire to shine even in the coldest dark. It's not a planet. It's a mirror of the human spirit. Asterisk for some. Pluto's story is about endurance. It didn't fade, didn't surrender, didn't vanish. It kept orbiting, steady, silent, unbothered by human debate. It taught us that meaning lives not in names, but in persistence. Inspired by Pluto, scientists now dream of returning. New missions are being planned to land, to drill, to stay. Not just to look, but to truly understand. Pluto has become a destination again, the first step toward the infinite. Someday, our descendants might stand there themselves. They'll watch the distant sun rise over frozen mountains and feel awe. They'll know they're walking on a world once thought unreachable. And they'll realize someone long ago dreamed of this. Pluto became part of art, music, and myth. In orchestras, it's the silent traveler. In films, the final frontier. But maybe it's neither the end nor the beginning. Maybe it's the heartbeat between. A frozen echo reminding us that beauty and mystery are one. It also became a symbol of the subconscious, of what lies beneath. Psychologists compare it to the hidden parts of the soul, where change begins. Pluto reflects our own depth, the darkness we must face to grow. Children still draw Pluto in their solar systems, not because of facts, but because of feeling. Curiosity doesn't follow rules, it follows wonder, and wonder always finds its way home. Future generations will go farther than we did. They'll touch its ice, hear its wind, and feel its silence. And in that silence, they'll hear humanity's echo, soft, distant, eternal. We were here, we dreamed, we reached. Every journey to Pluto is a journey within. We searched the stars to find ourselves reflected back. Perhaps Pluto is the mirror showing who we truly are, seekers of light in the dark. That is what it means to be human. One day, the sun will fade and Pluto will grow colder still. But its story will remain in our data, our art, and our memory. Even at the end of time, beauty survives, because to look into infinity is to remember who we are. Pluto's story as a planet may have ended, but its legend only began. It became the symbol of resilience, mystery, and hope. And somewhere out there, in the deep cold, it still shines, a small, eternal heart of the universe. When we discovered Pluto, we thought we had found the edge. Instead, we found the beginning of an endless journey. Even in the darkest reaches of space, curiosity burns like a flame. And as long as we keep looking up, that flame will never die. We must face to grow.